弟兄姊妹，大家主里平安。今天我们要读的经节是罗马书1章18节到20节和1章28节到2章1节。Romans chapter 1 verses 18 to 20 and chapter 1 verses 28 to chapter 2 verse 1。原来神的愤怒从天上显明在一切不虔不义的人身上，就是那些行不义阻挡真理的人。神的事情，人所能知道的，原显明在人心里，因为神已经给他们显明。自从造天地以来，神的永能和神性是明明可知的，虽是眼不能见，但借着所造之物就可以晓得，叫人无可推诿。他们既然故意不认识神，神就任凭他们存邪僻的心，行那些不合理的事，装满了各样不义、邪恶、贪婪、恶毒，满心是嫉妒、凶杀、争竞、诡诈、毒恨，又是忏悔的，背后说人的，怨恨神的，侮慢人的，狂傲的，自夸的，捏造恶事的，违背父母的，无知的，被约的，无亲情的，不怜悯人的。他们虽然知道神判定行这样事的人是当死的，然而他们不但自己去行，还喜欢别人去行。你这论断人的，无论你是谁，也无可推诿。你在什么事上论断人，就在什么事上定自己的罪。因你这论断人的，自己所行却和别人一样。以上是神的话语。
Thank you.
谢谢。
Before we begin this morning, we're going to pray together.
在我们开始今天正道之前，让我们一起来祷
Why
告，
don't we all stand?
让
shall
我们
we?
一起起立。
Father in heaven, we thank you for the Bible, which is a very powerful book.
亲爱的天父，我们为圣经的大有能力的一本书来向你献上感恩。
When we read it, your Holy Spirit can use this to speak to our hearts.
当我们读圣经的时候，你的圣灵可以透过这些话语来对我们心中说话。
And Lord, whoever we are today, doesn't matter who we are or how often we come to church or how many times we've been to church, you love each and every one of us.
亲爱的天父，无论我们是谁，无论我们来过教会几次，我们相信你爱我们每一个人。
I pray today, Lord, that through Brother Eric and myself, that you will speak to them by your Holy Spirit.
主啊，真的求你今天透过牧师跟孩子，能够来传达出你自己的信息。
And pray this in Jesus' name.
我们祷告，奉主耶稣基督的名求。
Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated.
大家请坐。
Very happy to be here this morning again with Brother Eric here. We're speaking together.
很高兴今天又可以跟牧师一起来正道。
We are in a series of sermons on the book of Romans.
我们现在有一系列在罗马书的正道。
And if you were here 2 weeks ago,
如果你2个星期前有来的话，
we looked at the summary verse of the whole book.
我们看到这个有一个章节是这整书的一个总纲的一个章节。
I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God unto salvation for all who believe, first for the Jew, then for the Gentile. Let's all read together, right?
让我们一起来念这个章节。我不以福音为耻，这福音本是神的大能，要救一切相信的，先是犹太人，后是希利尼人。
So this is a really important verse,
这是一个很重要的章节，
and it kind of summarizes the whole book.
这就把整卷书都做了一个大纲的一个简纲。
So after this short summary, Paul then begins to describe in detail what the gospel is.
而在这个摘要的章节之后呢，保罗就开始解释福音是什么了。
And in the first section, he's talking about sin and judgment.
而在第一个部分，他谈到罪与审判。
And then in the second part here, he's talking about grace and salvation.
而在第二个部分，他谈到恩典和救恩。
So today we're going to look section here.
所以今天我们会看到第一个部分。
And in this first section, there are 3 chapters.
在第一个部分里面，我们有3节、3章。
Last Sunday, the brother, he was supposed to talk about the first one, but he didn't.
上个星期我们的特别讲员这位弟兄，他其实应该要讲到第1章的，
So I'm going to try and talk about these 2 today,
所以今天我会来讲到第1跟第2章，
where Paul says that the Gentiles have sinned and also the Jews have sinned.
保罗在这边说到外邦人犯了罪，犹太人犯了罪。
I'm not sure what you thought about our speaker last week.
我不知道你对于我们上个星期的特别讲员有做的想法。
I really appreciated his message.
我很欣赏他传达的信息。
But there was one thing that he said that really bothered me.
不过他所讲的一件事情让我感到很烦扰。
He kept on saying this one phrase over and over and over.
他一直重复说这一个名词，
And it really began to kind of get under my skin, you know.
真的开始搅扰到我的心了。
I felt like I was sitting down there and every now and then he would poke me with a stick.
我觉得
That's how
他
I felt.，
我坐在那边的时候，我的感觉就是他时不时就会拿一根棍子在戳我。
And I sat there through the 9 o'clock service, the 11 o'clock service, and then also through the 5 o'clock service. 3 times I got it, all right?
我就整场的崇拜，从9点场、11点场，然后晚上的5点场，我都在
And,
这边
and
听着。
all the way through his sermon, I felt like every now and then he would poke me.
而每一场他在正道的时候，我都听到他时不时就用好像一根棍在戳我，在戳我。
What was the phrase that bothered me?
你觉得他很烦扰我的这个词是什么呢？
One thing he said.
他说了一个词
What do you? Yeah.
Gentiles.
Yeah. That
他
was
说
it.
到外邦人，
You Gentiles.
他说
he
你
said.
们外邦人，
You
他
Gentiles.
说你们外邦人，
You
他
Gentiles.
说你们外邦人，
You Gentiles.
你们外邦人。
I lived in Hong Kong for quite a long time.
我之前住在香港好长一段时间，
And the Hong Kong people, they would call me a name too.
香港人也会称我一个名词
Guai Lo,
鬼佬，
Guai Lo,
鬼佬，
Guai Lo.
鬼佬。
And I kind of got used to that, you know.
我后来就习惯了。
In New Zealand, people have a name for me as well.
在纽西兰也有人有不同的称呼，给我不同的
You know
称
what
呼
it is?。
你知道是什么吗？
The Maoris have a name for me.
毛利人对于
Yeah, Pakeha.
Pakeha
Pakeha.
Pakeha，
So over the many years, I've got used to that one too, you know.
过了很多年之后，
Don't really
我也习惯
like
了
it,，
也不喜欢。
But last week was the first time, really, anyone had ever said to me, "You Gentile, you Gentile."
不过上个星期大概是就是第一次有人这样一直称呼我说你是外邦人，你外邦人。
But actually,
不过事实上
that's what I am.
我就是，
Actually, that's what we are,
我们都是。
right? So would all the Gentiles here today please stand?
可不可以请所有的外邦人都
All the
起立呢？
Gentiles here please stand.
好不好？请所有的外邦人都起立呢？
Oh, that's all of us.
这
That's
就是我们
all of
所有
us.
人啊。
Okay, you may be seated.
大家请坐。
Okay, so in this passage today,
所以在今天这段章节里面，
Paul says
保罗说到，
all the Gentiles are sinners.
所有的外邦人都是罪人，
All the Gentiles are sinners.
所有的外邦人都是罪人。
So would all the sinners please stand up today?
所以所有的罪人都请起立。
Would all the sinners please stand up today?
请所有的罪人都起
Okay, you
立。
can be seated.
大家可以请坐了，
You can be seated.
大家请坐。
Now, there are many people in this world today who would say, well, I'm not really a sinner.
今天在世上有很多人会说，我不是一个罪
They
人，
would say, I'm a good person
他会说我是一个好人，
and I don't really need God.
我并不需要神。
And you know that there are thousands and thousands of people every day who drive past this church.
你知道每一天有数以千计的人会开车经过我们的教会
And
教堂，
they see the cross
他们会看到这个十字架，
and they see this building
他们会看到这个教堂的建筑
and
物，
they know that people come into this building and worship God.
他们知道人们来到这个建筑物是来敬拜
And
神
they
的，
drive past every day,
他们每天都开车经过这里，
but they don't want to come in.
不过他们却不想要进来，
They don't want to worship God.
他们不想要来敬拜神，
They don't think about God.
他们并不思想到神，
They don't thank God.
他们不感谢神，
They don't love God.
他们不爱神，
They don't honor God.
他们也不尊荣神，
They don't worship God.
他们不敬拜神，
and they don't serve God.
而他们也不服侍神。
But they drive past here every day,
不过每一天他们都开车经过这里，
and they think, I don't need God
而他们会觉得说，我们不需要神，
because I'm a good person.
因为我是一个好人。
But what they don't know
不过他们不知道的是，
is that one day they will experience the wrath of God,
因为有一天他们会经历到神的愤怒，
judgment of God.
是神的审判。
I had a very moving experience on Wednesday.
在星期三，我有一个非常感动的一个经历
There。was a Taiwanese sister, a Christian lady, who came to visit our church.
有一个台湾的姐妹来探访我们的教会，
She used to be in our church many years ago.
她在多年前是在我们教会的，
Her name is Fiona,
她的名字叫 Fiona，
and she's a very sincere Christian woman.
是非常虔诚的一个基督徒姐
So
妹。
she brought her sister Tracy and another friend. They come for a holiday to New Zealand.
她把她的姐妹Tracy 还有一个朋友就带来纽西兰旅
Now
游。
back in Taiwan,
在台湾的时候，
the sister Tracy,
这姐妹 Tracy
she's not a Christian.
她不是一个基督徒，
She had heard the gospel many times.
她已经听过福音很多次了，
She had been invited to church many times.
她也被邀请去教会很多次了，
She had been encouraged to believe in Jesus many times.
她也被鼓励要相信耶稣很多次
And
了。
every time
不过每一次，
she said no,
每一次她都说不
no, 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 no.
不不不不不。
On Tuesday, she came to our building.
星期二的时候，她来到我们的教堂，
Now, she told me, she said, when I saw those paintings over there,
她说她看到这些画作，
and when I went upstairs,
而当她去到2楼的时
and I saw
候，
all what the children had written put on the wall,
看到那些小朋友放在墙上的东西，
and she said, I read it,
她说我就仔细的读了，
and something happened in me.
她说在我里面就发生了一些事
I
情，
felt God speaking to me.
我感到神在对我说话，
For the first time in her life,
而生命中第一次，
she said yes.
她说是好的，
She said yes.
她说好，
So the next day, which was Wednesday,
而在隔天星期三，
I wasn't there on Tuesday. I didn't know what happened, but I heard what happened.
在星期二的时候，牧师并不在教会，所以不知道，后来才知道发生了什么事。
So on Wednesday, Susan and Stephen from our church, they brought Fiona and her sister Tracy and her friend to visit me.
而在星期三的时候，我们教会的伟爸伟妈就把 Fiona、Tracy 还有这个朋友带来，来见牧师。
And we were sitting out in the foyer on the sofa and talking.
而我们坐在前厅的这个沙发上面来聊天。
And I felt the Holy Spirit move me to say something to Tracy.
而我感到圣灵在感动我，来对 Tracy 说一些
I
话。
said to her,
我对她
I
说
said, imagine you have a daughter
她说就想象你有个女儿，
and you love your daughter very
你
much.
非常的爱她，
But your daughter leaves home,
不过你女儿离开了家
she，turns away from you,
她转离了你。
and when she leaves home, she never contacts you again,
而当她离开家之后，她从来就不再联络你了，
completely ignores you,
完全的忽视你的
never
存在，
calls you,
不再打电话给你，
turns away from you, her
转离
mother.
了你，转离了你的母亲，
I said, how would you feel?
你会作何感想？
And tears start rolling down her cheeks
她开始流泪，
because she understood what I meant.
因为她明白我说什么，
Because that's exactly what she had been doing to God.
因为这就是她对神所一直在做的。
She had turned away from God,
她转离了神，
completely ignored God.
完全忽视神的存
She
在。
knew God was there,
她知道神在那里，
but she didn't want to have anything to do with God.
不过她不想跟他有任何的关联。
And here she was coming back to God.
不过在这里，她却愿意回到神的身
She
边，
was very, very moved.
她也很感动。
You know, there are millions and millions of people who are like what Tracy used to be like.
今天有数以百万计的人，就像 Tracy 之前的样子
They,
一
they
样，
think they're good people.
他们觉得他们是一个好人，
They think they don't need God.
他们觉得他们不需要神，
They never think about God.
他们从来没有思想到神，
They never thank God.
他们从来没有感谢神，
They don't love Him.
他们不爱他，
They don't honor Him.
他们不尊荣
They
他，
don't worship
他
Him.
们不敬拜他，
And they don't serve
而
Him.
他们不侍奉他。
Even though they know He's there,
就算他们知道他的存在，
but they turn away from Him.
不过他们仍然转离他。
And so what Paul is saying in these two chapters is that all of us actually, we're all sinners.
而保罗在这2章里面，其实告诉我们的是，我们是人都犯了罪，
And
都
we-
是罪人，
And we all need a Savior.
而我们都需要一位救主。
And the Gentiles sin,
而外邦人犯罪，
Jews sin,
犹太人也犯了罪，
everybody sin.
世人都犯了罪。
And we make excuses for our sin,
而我们为我们这些罪恶来找借口。
but Paul is saying there's no excuses.
不过保罗告诉我们说，没有借口
There's no
无可
excuses.
推诿，
There's no excuses.
这是无可推诿的。
So if you have a newsletter, you can see the notes in the newsletter. You can maybe follow along.
如果你有笔记的，那个今天周报里面的笔记的话，你就可以来看。
Because the first point is that the Gentiles were saying that, we're ignorant, therefore we are innocent.
因为第1节讲到我们外邦人是无知的，所以我们是无辜的，
That was their excuse, okay?
这是他们的借口。
They were saying, God gave the Bible to the Jews,
因为他们说神是把圣经给了这些犹太
but
人，
He didn't give it to us.
不过并没有给我们呢。
They have the laws of Moses,
他们有摩西的律法，
prophets,
有这些先
the
知，
Old Testament.
有旧约，
We didn't know.
我们并不知道。
We're not Jews.
我们不是犹太人，
I mean, we're Chinese, we're Koreans, we're Kiwis,
我们是华人，我们是韩国人，我们是纽西兰
we're
人，
Gentiles.
我们是外邦人。
How do we know?
我们怎么会知道呢？
I mean, how are we supposed to know?
我们怎么能够知道呢？
That's what they were saying, okay?
这是他们所说的，
They're saying we are ignorant. 因
因为他们说他们是无知的，
Not in a bad way.
不是一个负面的讲
Because
法。
what they meant was, I didn't know.
他们说的就是他们真的不知道，
I didn't know what I was supposed to do.
他们不知道他们该做什么，
That was their excuse.
这是他们的借口。
And Paul says to them, no, 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 no excuses.
保罗告诉他们说无可推诿，
Because you had creation and you have a conscience.
因为外邦人有创造，也就是受造之物，也有良知。
So if you've got a Bible, turn to Romans chapter 1, where we started, where the reading started.
如果你带圣经的话，请翻到罗马书第1章，就是刚刚我们所读的第一段章节，
Verse 18.
第18节。
The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of men or people who suppress the truth by their wickedness.
这边说到，原来神的愤怒从天上显明在一切不谦不义的人身上，就是那些行不义、阻挡真理的人。
Okay, so in a moment I'm going to talk about the wrath of God.
再过一段时间，等一下我会提到神的愤怒。
But let's just keep going to verse 19. Verse 19.
不过我们继续来看第19节，
Since what may be known about God is plain to them.
因为这边说到神的事情，人所能知道的，原显明在人心里。
You see that?
你看到这边所说的吗？
So the Gentiles are saying, we are ignorant.
这些外邦人说我们是无知
We
的，
didn't know.
我们并不知道啊，
We are innocent.
我们是无辜的。
And Paul says, no, 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 no,
不过
no.
保罗说不是的，
What is known about God is plain.
神的事情已经显明了
It's，plain to you.
已经向你们显明了。为什么呢？
Because God has made it plain.
因为神已经给他们显明了。
So what is known about God is obvious.
因为要对神的认知其实是非常明显的。
Why is it obvious?
为什么很明显呢？
Because God has made it obvious.
因为神已经让它是明显的
How
了。
did God do that?
那神是怎么做到的呢？
Verse 20.
第20节，
For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, His eternal power and His divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men or people are without excuse.
他这边说到，自从造天地以来，神的永能和神性是明可知的，虽是眼不能见，但借着所造之物就可以晓得，叫人无可推诿。
So how has God made it clear and plain?
那神是怎么让一切显明呢？
Creation.
是透过创造，
Creation.
透过创造，
Read it. Read it. Underline it.
你可以把它
Underline it.
划线。
For since the creation of the world,
他说，自从造天地以来，
God's invisible qualities,
神的永能和神性，
His eternal power and His divine nature
他的永能和神性
have been clearly seen,
是明可知的，
being understood from what has been made,
是借着所造之物就可以晓得的，
so that people are without excuse.
叫人无可推诿。
Now, I want to show you a video,
我现在给大家看一个影片，
and this video illustrates this point about creation.
这个影片可以让大家来了解这一点。
It's an English song.
这
Sorry,
是一
it's
首
in English.
英语的歌，
It's in English, but it's asking a question.
不过这边当中问了一个问题，
It says, how can they say there is no God?
他说：“他们怎么可以说没有神呢？
How can they say there is no God?
他们怎么可以说没有
So
神呢
that's the question of this song.
这首歌
So
所
we'll
提出
kill
的就
all
是这
the
个问
lights,
题。
please.
我们现在把灯光
And
按
it's
下，
about 4 minutes, okay? 4 minutes.
4分钟的一首歌。
Kill all the lights.
Soaring through lying down beneath the stars. I feel your presence there.
Why can't they pick a good? That's good. That's good. Do you believe?
你相信吗？
Do you believe?
你相信吗
Do？you look at creation and do you believe that there is a God who made all this?
你看到一切的创造之物的时候，你有相信说有一个创造主创造这一切吗？
Or would you say, I don't know, I don't know,
还是你仍然会坚持说我不知道，我不知道
I，don't know?
我不知道？
So Paul is saying, we have creation,
保罗说我们有创造，
we have a conscience.
而我们也有良知。
If you look at chapter 2
我们来看第2节的时候
and，you look down at verse 14,
看到第14节，
it's a little bit complicated,
这边有比较复杂。
but Paul is saying here, we have a conscience.
这边说到我们有一个良知，
God has written right and wrong on our hearts.
神已经把是与非写在我们的心中，
We know.
我们都知道，
We know what's right and what's wrong.
我们知道什么是对，什么是错的。
For the Jews, God wrote it on stone tablets, the Ten Commandments. He gave it to the Jews.
对于犹太人，神是把这个律法写在这个石板上面，颁布给他们。
But for all the
不过
Gentiles,
对于外邦人来说，
he wrote it on our
他
hearts.
写在我们的心榜上
What，is right, what is wrong?
是与非，
He
对
says
与
here,
错。
verse 14.
第14节，
Indeed, when Gentiles who do not have the law do by nature things required by the law, they are a law for themselves, even though they do not have the law, since they show that the requirements of the law are written on their hearts, their consciences also bearing witness, and their thoughts now accusing and even defending them.
这边说到，没有律法的外邦人，若顺着本性行律法上的事，他们虽然没有律法，自己就是自己的律法，这是显出律法的功用，刻在他们心里。他们是非之心同作见证，并且他们的思念互相较量，或以为是，或以为非。
So, what Paul is saying here is
保罗在这边所说的是，
these Gentiles,
这些外邦人，
they have creation,
他们有创
they
造
have，their conscience,
他们有自己的良
they
知，
know.
他们知道的，
They are without excuse.
他们是无可推诿的。
But do they seek God?
不过，他们有寻求神吗？
Do they think about God?
他们有思想到神吗？
Do they thank God?
他们有感谢神吗？
Worship God?
他们有敬拜神吗？
Love God?
爱神吗？
Honor Him?
有尊荣他吗？
Serve Him?
有服侍他吗？
No.
没有。
They drive past this building, thousands of them every day,
数以千计的人每一天开车经过这里，
and they have no feeling for God.
不过对他们对神没有任何的感受。
And so Paul says in verse 21
保罗在第21节这样说到，
of chapter 1,
第
chapter
1
1,
章的21节，
verse 21.
第21节
For。although they knew God, they neither glorified Him as God nor gave thanks to Him, but their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened.
这边说到，因为他们虽然知道神，却不当作神荣耀他，也不感谢他，他们的思念变为虚妄，无知的心就昏暗了。
So instead of thinking about God,
他们不去思想神，
they turned away from God.
他们却转离神。
And if you look down at verse 29,
不过我们看到第29节，
they have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, malice. They're gossips, slanderers, God haters, insolent, arrogant, boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. They are senseless, faithless, heartless, ruthless. Although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things deserve death, they not only continue to do these very things, but they also approve of those who practice them.
29节中说到，他们装满了各样不义、邪恶、贪婪、恶毒，满心是嫉妒、凶杀、争竞、诡诈、毒恨，又是残毁的，背后说人的，怨恨神的，辱骂人的，狂傲的，自夸的，捏造恶事的，违背父母的，无知的，背约的，无亲情的，不怜悯人的。他们虽知道神判定行这样事的人是当死的，然而他们不但自己去行，还喜欢别人去行。
And all of us here, we are in here.
而我们所有的人都包括在这里。
And maybe you haven't done all these things,
也许你没有做每一件事情，
but we have done some of them.
不过我们都做了当中的一些事。
That's why Paul started off by talking about the wrath of God.
这也是为什么保罗一开始谈到神的愤怒。
He said the wrath, in verse 18, the wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of people who suppress the truth by their wickedness.
在18节说到，神的愤怒从天上显明在一切不虔不义的人身上，就是那些行不义、阻挡真理的人。
So the wrath of God has two parts to it.
所以神的愤怒有两个部分。
In a moment, I'll talk about the future part,
待会我会提到未来的部
the
分，
coming judgment of God.
也就是未来的审判。
But verse 18, it says that the wrath of God is being revealed right now.
而在第19节里面说到说，这些神的第18节说到，神的愤怒现在就已经显明了。
The wrath of God is being revealed.
这边说到，神的愤怒正在显明。
Yes, one day there is coming a day of judgment,
有一天会有审判之日，
but also God's judgment or God's wrath is being poured out right now.
不过现在神的愤怒已经审判已经在被倾倒了。
Now, so how is that happening in the present? How is it happening today?
那在今天的世代是怎样在发生的
In
呢？
these verses, Paul mentions one phrase. He mentions it 3 times.
在这段章节里面，保罗提到一个词，提了3次，
It's a very important
这
phrase.
是很重要的一个词。
It's in verse 24, 26, and 28.
在24、26跟28节，
And it's the phrase, God gave them over.
这边说到神任凭他们，
Rinping tamen.
神任凭他们。
24, 26, and 28.
24、26跟28节，
So the wrath of God is being revealed today by God giving people over to their sin.
神的愤怒今天是怎样被显明呢？是神任凭他们。
What does that mean?
这是什么意思呢？
Look at verse 24.
我们来看第24节。
Therefore, God gave them over in the sinful desires of their hearts to sexual impurity.
这边说到，所以神任凭他们逞着心里的情欲行污秽的事。
Verse 26.
26节，
God gave them over to shameful lusts.
神任凭他们放纵可羞耻的情欲。
Verse 28.
第28节，
He gave them over to a depraved mind to do what ought not to be done.
神就任凭他们存邪僻的心，行那些不合理的事。
So what does this mean?
这是什么意思呢？
It means that it doesn't mean that God makes people sin. It doesn't mean that.
这不是说神造成或促使这些人犯罪，
It means that He allows people to sin.
这是他说他允许他们犯罪。
God doesn't ruin people's lives,
神并没有摧毁人的生活生命，
but He lets people ruin their lives.
不过他允许他们摧毁他们的生
He
命。
doesn't make us go downhill,
他不让我们自己往下滑走下坡，
but He will take off the handbrake.
不过他会放松这个手刹车。
This idea of a handbrake,
这是个手刹车的概念。
I read it in a book and it really made sense to me.
我在一本书里面读到这样的一个解说，我觉得非常的有道
It
理。
was a book by David Pawson.
是
You may have heard
David
of him.
Pawson 所写的一本
He
书。
said, you know, imagine your car is sitting on a hill,
说就是想象你的车停在一个山坡上，
and it's not an automatic car, it's a manual car, okay?
不是一个自排车，而是手排车。
And if the handbrake is taken off,
如果这个手刹车被放松了，
the car will naturally just run down the hill.
车很自然就往下滑，
And when it gets to the bottom, it will crash.
而到山底的时候就会撞车。
And he said, you know, God is pulling on the handbrake.
而神现在正拉着这个手刹车
He，has his hand on our lives.
他在我们生命中有他的手在掌
Because
权，
he doesn't want us to hurt
因
ourselves.
为他不要我们伤害自己，
He loves us.
他爱我们，
He doesn't want us to go downhill.
他不要我们走下
He doesn't
坡，
want us to crash at the bottom.
他不要我们在山底下撞毁。
But if we insist,
不过，如果我们坚持这样做的话，
if we want to ruin our lives,
如果我们想要自己摧毁自己的生命的话，
God will do what we want to do.
神会让我们去做我们要做的事
He
情，
will let off the handbrake.
他会放松这个手刹车。
Now, he's not happy about that.
他当然不开心、不高
God
兴
is
做
not
这件
happy
事
about
情，
that.
他并不因为这样而开心。
Chapter 2, verse 4
第2章第4节
says that God is kind, tolerant, and patient.
这边说到，神是恩慈、宽容、忍耐的。
Not so we can sin more and more and more,
不是让我们可以更多的犯罪，
but so we repent.
而是可以领我们来悔改。
God is kind,
这边说到神是恩慈的、
tolerant,
宽容的，
and He's very, very patient.
而是非常非常忍
He
耐
doesn't,
的。
he doesn't want to let off the handbrake.
他并不想放松这个手刹车，
But if we insist,
不过如果我们坚持的话，
He will do what we want Him to do.
他会让我们去做我们想做的
So
事。
that is how the wrath of God today is being revealed.
这是神的愤怒今天怎样显明在我们
It's
当
quite
中。
different to what we would imagine, right?
这可能跟我们想象的很不一样。
That's what Paul is saying here.
不过这就是保罗在这里所说到的。
When God takes off the handbrake,
当神放松这个手刹车的时候，
people go deeper and deeper and deeper into sin.
人就越深越深的陷在罪里，
Lives ruined because of sin.
生命会因为罪恶而被摧毁
So。that's what it means when it says that God's wrath is being revealed today.
这也就是这边说到说，神的愤怒今天就显明在这里的意思。
Next, I want to look at the future
接
part.
下来我要谈到未来的部分。
But before that, before we look at the future judgment,
不过在看到未来的这个审判之前，
I must say something about verse 26 and verse 27.
我必须要谈到第26跟27节的一些部分。
Okay, I can't skip these ones.
我不想跳过这些部分。
Because of this, God gave them over to shameful lusts. Even their women exchanged natural relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, the men also abandoned natural relations with women, were inflamed with lust for one another. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty of their perversion.
这边说到，因此神任凭他们放纵可羞耻的情欲，他们的女人把顺性的用处变为逆性的用处，男人也是如此，弃了女人顺性的用处，欲火攻心，彼此贪恋，男和男行可羞耻的事，就在自己身上受着万为当得的报应。
The Bible is very clear.
圣经非常的清楚，
It says that women having sex with women
他说女人和女人行房，
and men having sex with men
而男人和男人行房
is shameful,
是可羞耻的，
unnatural,
是逆性的，
indecent,
是不道德的，
and it's a perversion.
也是妄为的。
That's what these verses say right there.
这些章节就是说到这一点。
Okay, so these words here
这边所提到的这些词，
are not my words.
不是牧师自己所说
These
的，
are the Bible words.
这是圣经里面所提到的。
Now, if you go to school in New Zealand,
如果你去到纽西兰的
or
学
you
校，
go to university in New Zealand,
或者是纽西兰的大学，
your teachers
你们的老师
will tell you
会告诉你们，
that women having sex with women and men having sex with men
女人和女人和男人或者男人有这样的关系
is good,
是好的，
natural,
是顺性的，
loving,
是充满爱的，
and is okay.
是可行的。
The culture of our country
我们现在这个国家的文化
will tell you the same thing.
会告诉你这样的同样的事情，
The media
我们的媒体
will tell you the same thing.
会告诉你同样的事情。
If you have non-Christian friends,
如果你有非基督徒的朋友，
will tell you the same thing.
他们也告诉你同样的事情。
But the Bible says,
不过圣经告诉我们，
it's right here, okay,
这边写的很清楚，
that women having sex with women and men having sex with men
女人和女人有性的关系，或者男人和男人有性的关
is
系，
shameful, unnatural, indecent, and it's a perversion.
是可羞耻的、逆性的、不道德的、妄为的。
And the question is,
今天问题是，
what side do you believe?
你今天是站在哪一边呢？
Which side do you believe? Do
你
you
今天
believe
相
the
信
Bible?
哪一点呢？你相信圣经吗？
You know, understand, you who are parents, understand something.
作为父母，你要了解到一
If
点：
you send your children to a public school,
如果你把你的孩子送到一个公立的学
if
校
you，send your kids to university,
你把你的孩子送到大学，
they will be told
他们会被告知，
that it's good, natural, loving, and it's okay.
会说这样的关系是好的、顺性的、充满爱的、可行
So I
的。
think as parents,
所以作为父母，
you have to make up your mind which side you're on.
你必须要自己有一个清楚的思想，说你到底是站在哪一
It's
边，
very important.
这是非常重要的，
Okay. Okay.
好吗？
Point 2.
第二点，
Better do this one quickly, very quickly.
我会很快的说到这一点。
The Jewish people,
犹太人呢，
they said, we're innocent too.
他们说我们也是无辜的，
And the reason that we're innocent is because we're special.
我们是无辜的，因为我们是特别
We
的，
are God's chosen
我
people.
们是神所拣选的子民百
God
百
would
姓。
never judge us.
神不会审判我们的，
He would judge those dirty Gentiles,
他会审判那些肮脏的外邦人，
but he would never judge us.
不过他从来就不会审判我们。
So when Paul is writing, when they're reading this chapter 1,
所以当他们读到保罗所写的这个第1章的时候，
and Paul is talking about all the sin of the Gentile people,
保罗提到这些外邦人所犯的罪，
the Jews were sitting there.
这些犹太人就坐在那里，
Uh-huh.
就说
Yes, yes,
就
yes.
说是的，是的，是的，
Sinful, sinful, sinful.
罪恶，罪恶，罪恶，这
Gentiles.
些外邦人。
It is quite common knowledge
是很一个常识来
that the
的，
a Jewish man in the first century
在第1世纪的犹太
would
人
often pray like this.
会很常这样的祷告：
Dear God,
哦，亲爱的神呐、
I thank you that I am not a dog.
我感谢你，我不是一条狗；
I thank you that I am not a woman.
我感谢你不是一个女人；
And I thank you that I'm not a Gentile.
我感谢你不是一个外邦人。
That was a very common prayer of Jewish men in the first century.
这是在第1世纪犹太男人会做的一个祷告。
Now, it is true that God chose Abraham and God chose the Jewish people.
当然，事实上，神真的拣选了亚伯拉罕，也拣选了犹
And
太
he
人。
said to Abraham and to the Jewish people, You are my people,
他也对亚伯拉罕和犹太人说：“
and,
你们是我的百
and I
姓，
will bless you,
而我会赐福于你们，
and you will be a blessing.
而你会成为一个祝福，
And through your nation will come a Savior to save the whole world.
而借着你们这一族，将会出现一个拯救世人的一个救主，
That was Jesus.
这就是耶稣。
So they were chosen,
所以他们是被拣选的，
but they were chosen for service.
不过他们这个拣选是针对服侍，
They were not chosen for salvation.
不是针对救恩的一个拣选，
You got that? They were chosen for service.
这是针对服侍而做的拣选。
But somehow they began to believe that they were chosen for salvation.
不过他们却觉得他们是在救恩上被拣选了，
And they said, Whoever has Jewish blood
而他们说，只要有承袭这个犹太人的血脉的
will
人，
be saved.
就会得救。
God will judge those Gentiles,
神会审判这些外邦人，
but we are special.
不过我们是特
We
别
are
的，
different.
我们是不一样
We
的。
have Jewish blood.
我们有这些犹太人的
We
血
have
脉，
Abraham for our ancestor.
我们有亚伯拉罕是我们的祖先，
God will not judge us.
神不会审判我们。
And so now Paul in chapter 2 is talking to these Jewish people.
而保罗在第2章就开始对这些犹太人
And
说
he
话，
says in chapter 2 verse 1,
而在第2章第1节他这样说，
he said, You don't have any excuse either.
他说你们也无可推诿，
You who pass judgment on someone else, for at whatever point you judge the other, you are condemning yourself because you are passing judgment, do the same things.
他说你在什么事上论断人，就在什么事上定自己的罪，因你这论断人的自己所行，却和别人一样。
You Jewish people, you're pointing the finger,
你们犹太人一直用指头指向别人，
but you are doing the same thing.
我同时也在指向自己
You。are no better.
你并没有更好，
You are stubborn, you are proud, and you are unrepentant.
你是顽固的，你是骄傲的，你是不肯悔改的。
And you know,
你知道吗？
sometimes we Christians,
有时候我们作为基督徒，
we are just like the Jews.
我们也像这些犹太人一样，
We think we are better than others.
我们觉得我们比别人好，
We think we are more holy than others.
我们觉得我们比别人圣洁，
That we're better than those people outside the church.
我们觉得我们比教会外面的人好。
Those ones that drive up and down, we're better than them.
那些开车经过我们教会的人，我们觉得我们比他们好，
We are not.
我们并没有。
Because as soon as we point the finger at them,
因为当我们把指头指向外面的人的时候，
we are just like the Jewish people.
我们就像这些犹太人一样。
And Paul is saying, the Jewish people, you will be judged just the same.
而保罗在对这些犹太人也说，你们也会同样受审判。
There are three things about God's judgment.
神的审判有3点可以提到，
Talks about it here.
是在这边所提到的。
Verse 2.
第2节，
Now we know that God's judgment against those who do such things is based on truth.
这边说到，我们知道这样行的人，神必照真理审判他们。
Today, if you or I, if we end up in a court,
如果今天我们去到一个法庭，
maybe the judgment will not be true. Maybe it will not be correct.
也许这样的一个审判的结果，并不会是最确切的，不会是按照真理的。
Maybe the witnesses tell lies.
也许这个证人会说谎，
Maybe the lawyer very sneaky.
也许这个律师会非常狡猾，
Maybe the jury make a mistake.
也许这个审判团会犯了一个错误，
Maybe the judge not fair,
或者是这个法官不公
so
平，
that the judgment is not correct.
所以审判的结果并不一定是最确实的。
But God's judgment is correct.
不过神的审判是最确实
No
的，
mistakes.
没有任何的错
Because
误，
He knows everything and He sees everything.
因为他知道一切，他看见一切。
God's judgment is inescapable.
神的审判是无法逃脱的。
Verse 3.
第3节，
So when you, a mere man, pass judgment on them and yet do the same things, do you think you will escape God's judgment?
第3节说到：“你这人呐、你论断行这样事的人，自己所行的事却和别人一样，你以为能逃脱神的审判吗？
Do you think you will escape God's judgment?
你觉得你能够逃脱神的审判吗？
God's judgment is inescapable.
神的审判是无法逃脱的。
Hebrews tells us very clearly
在希伯来书非常清楚地告诉我们
that，we are destined to die once and after that to face judgment.
按着定命，人人都有一死，死后且有审判。
Today, criminals, they can run and they can hide.
今天罪犯可以逃走，然后躲起来，
They can go to Korea and they can change their face shape,
他
right?
们可以去到韩国整容，
And they can become a different person.
他们可以成为一个不一样的人，
And they can escape judgment.
他们可以逃过这些审判。
But God's judgment
不过神的审判呢，
is inescapable.
是无法逃脱的。
And finally, it is impartial.
第3个是绝不偏待的，
Verse 11.
第3点是绝不
For
偏待
God
的，
does not show favoritism.
因为这边说到说神绝不偏待人。
The Jewish people thought God will judge us differently.
犹太人会觉得说，神会用不同的方法来审判我们，
We are good people.
我们是好人，
We are God's
我
people.
们是神的百姓，
He will judge those Gentiles,
他会审判那些外邦人，
but He will judge us in a different way.
不过他会用不同的方式来审判我
And
们。
Paul is saying, no, 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 no.
不过保罗说不是的，不是的，
There's not two judgments, two kinds of law.
并没有2种律法、2种审判，
No, no, no.
并没有。
Today,
今天
it's almost like the rich people have one law and the poor people have another law, right?
就好像今天好像有钱人
Right.
跟穷人有不同的律法一样，
The powerful people have one kind of law and the ordinary people like you and me, we have another kind of law.
有权有势的人好像有一套不同的律法，然后平凡人有不同的律法。
Not like that with God.
在神不是这样，
God's judgment is same standard for everyone.
神的审判对于每个人是同一标准。
So we're going to sing a song. So to conclude today,
作为今天的结论，
there's just one question I have for you.
我有一个问题要问大家，
Just one question.
只有一个问题，
Why don't we all stand?
让我们一起起立。
Here's the question.
这边就是这个问题。
It's kind of a strange way to finish a sermon,
也许在正道最后结束讲这样是有点奇怪，
but my sermon really hasn't finished just yet.
不过我的正道其实还没有结束
You've got。to come back for part 2 next week, all
你
right?
下个星期还要来看到
And
第2个部
and
分，
then part 3.
还有第3个部分。
When the Romans, they got this letter, they didn't kind of divide it up week by week. You know, they just read the whole thing right through, right? But we have to divide it up, okay?
当罗马人他们读到这卷书的时候，他们是一次过可以来看，不过我们是要分成每一周不同的时间来
So
看
this。is like part 1.
这就像是第1个部
Please
分，
come back for part 2.
请大家第2部分也要回来
This
听，
part 1's a bit depressing.
因为第1部分听起来有点让你情绪低落。
It's not the end.
不过这不是结束，
So here's the question.
现在就是这个问题：
Do you think you will escape God's judgment?
你觉得你可以逃脱神的审判吗？
Do you think you can escape God's judgment?
你觉得你可以逃脱神的审判吗？
That's the question.
这就是我的问题。
Okay, let's sit down.